Good evening, one and all. And Velexi is here, who says, I'm back. Greetings, Velexi. How are you doing? We're going to be doing some more updates to this character. Hopefully, get him a little bit closer to being finished. I was able to do a lot more last time than I did the previous time. So hopefully I can get some more speed tonight as well. We will see. The goal is to try and get back into doing streams on a very regular basis. I think it's better for my own personal skills, as well as just to keep me, busy. Otherwise, easy to lapse into meaningless activities. Yes, in the last 7 months. I think you're probably trying to say, what have you missed? Not a ton. A lot of projects kind of got put on hold. Not necessarily of my own, not what I necessarily wanted to see, but a lot of projects did get put on hold. I'm trying to get them restarted. Life is going to happen. And it kind of did happen in many different ways. And so, hopefully, get a chance to get some of these things finalized. Right now, we're on the process of making finishing up a JavaScript game. People were after me enough saying that I should do it. I finally said, fine, I'll give it a shot. And it actually turned out to be a lot easier than I thought. I was a bit surprised. So we will see how much longer it takes, but the concept is almost complete. I think I need to make this character a little bit smaller. Just because it's not a lot of space for his legs. Anyway, what have you been up to? Velexi, what has been going on in your world? By the way, we officially crossed 100 subscribers on YouTube for this channel. That is quite substantial, in my opinion. Hello. What are you working on? Says Tato. Well, we're going to be continuing the artwork from last night. Trying to get a little bit further on it. I'm starting off by just trying to get a couple of corrections before proceeding. Oh, greetings there, Ha. Much appreciated for the resubscription. Very kind of you. How are you doing? I only post on TikTok with 1.2k followers, says Velexi. Yeah, that's a substantial amount. Substantial amount. How have I been? I've been doing fine. Been a lot of hiccups in terms of production, and a lot of projects have been having issues, and so it has been it's been a busy last couple of months, and currently finishing up one of those projects that I started a long time ago, and finally open it up again and getting it completed. And this is the final step in the process, trying to get a character in pixel art to be able to add into it. What have you been up to? Read any good books lately? My second channel only has 743 subs on YouTube. Yes, Tato, you are much larger than our channel over here. Trying to grow a channel on YouTube is surprisingly hard, and so for you to be able to get that much is actually quite commendable. Some people understand the algorithm a lot better than others, and for me, I don't understand the algorithm. It continues to drive me bonkers, and I finally gave up a while back. I was like, I can't keep up with it. So I've never really stressed about it a whole lot. But there's some people that they have spent a lot of time trying to master the algorithm. Some to good success, others not so much. And so trying to find that balance can definitely get a little frustrating. But if you figure it out, well then, that is a wonderful feeling of success. So, well done. I feel like that large nose is just too large. Actually, wait a minute. If I did that. Nope, that looks awful. I will just leave it like that for right now. Reading, of course, I'm in my fantasy era this round. Indeed. Where were you for like 4 months, says Veluxy? Oh, good question. That is a good question. Not a lot of, well, there was a lot of stuff I had to do outside of the streaming world. And that took priority. And so I took a lot of days off. I took actually about 2 weeks off at a time. And I was on every now and again. Life just got too busy. And the last of those obligations ended last week. So, thankfully, it does give me the ability to start to get back into it. But of course, that means getting back into it means we kind of got to ramp up. Got to get familiar with doing regular streams. And I lost that kind of drive. And so I've been trying to get a hold of that again. Anyway, that's what was going on. A lot of miscellaneous obligations and trying to work on projects. And unfortunately, those projects just were not easy to do on stream, like coding. Coding on stream is quite hard for me. So I just focused on that in isolation. But if you did more of those gaming reviews and movies, you probably could get a good amount of subscribers. You know, that's it is an interesting thought. We actually had a couple of people that were involved with it, and I won't go into all the reasons as to why, but there was a lot of motivation for some folks to cause trouble, and it goes back to a long time ago, back when I was just getting started, and so there is some reason why I haven't gone into it. I didn't want to crowd the space, and there were some people that I didn't want to potentially cause grief with some of the reviews that I had. Anyway, too long of a story to get into right now, but let's just say there was actually a very good reason as to why I got out of it. Although I would love to do it again. It just... enough time has passed where I could do it. I just can't think of how many people would want to hear my ramblings. Hey, greetings, Elemental. How are you doing? Did you find success with your game that you were playing the other day? But yeah, Tata, we did a lot of Star Wars stuff early on. A lot of focus on trying to do like hardcore reviews, and got a good system, honestly, for trying to do reviews, and I really liked it. I thought we got really good scores out of it. I was doing it initially with primarily with rolling chairs. I wonder what he's been up to. It's been a while since I've contacted him. I should do that. But we actually had a couple of people that were like really wanting to hear some commentary on that stuff, and so I took some time to watch shows that I normally wouldn't have done just because there was that interest. But we haven't had that interest in a while, so maybe we'll get back into it, maybe not. It's kind of hard to say. I can't promise one thing or another. And hopefully I'll get to actually put out my own stuff here shortly. We'll see. Rambles, that's why we're here. To listen to your talks. Yes, the ramblings of a half-crazed Alaskan. It was fun, says Elemental. Was on the edge of sleep when you got there. What are we drawing today? Well, I'm trying to go back and refine a design for a game that I'm in the process of making. This is the final step, and right now I'm trying to refine it. What's like this, I'm trying to make them look a little bit more natural looking. It's tough. I'm working with very small amount of pixels here. Do the Mario Galaxy movie. Oh, that would actually be a good one, because that would be a follow-up to the first one. But yeah, the that Mario one was a lot of fun to do. I thought our scoring system was pretty good for coming out with a good, solid review. One of the stories, though, that I would love to do like a good in-depth approach to would be the original Star Wars films, like the first 6, and just go through them again. But a lot of people have done that, so it's now real motivation to try and do it. But another one is trying to focus on some of the lesser-known series. And one of the ones I really enjoyed that not a lot of people really put a lot of effort into watching was Dark Crystal. That series was really good. I almost did a review of that one, but it was not a well-watched series. I was kind of waiting for the second one to come out before doing something like that, and then it never did, which was a shame. What's your favorite thing about Alaska? You know, that's a tough one. I think that Alaska has probably some of the best scenery that you can live in. Not look at, but live in. I can walk out my door and there is a beautiful mountain vista. There are large forests around here. Not necessarily tall trees, but big, far-reaching forests out here. Beautiful rivers. It is living in a postcard. That's what it's like. A lot of people come up to Alaska and they just think, oh, it's going to be cold weather. A lot of them are surprised to find out that we actually have really nice summer weather. Some of the most enjoyable weather I've encountered is up here in the summer. And about a couple of years ago was when I first started noticing just how each season had something nice and special to really kind of liven up the atmosphere, you could say. In winter, the thing that people seem to hate the most is also the thing that when you've been up here for a little while, you come to absolutely love it. Right now we have beautiful frosty weather outside. It is absolutely gorgeous. So I think it's the seasons. The seasons and the fact that, so first off, scenery, postcards sort of view. Second off is the climate. Third off, the wildlife. I can go outside and I can find more bald eagles than pigeons. We got moose all over the place. Drive down the street and see a bear. It's not bad. You definitely want to be careful. Alaska is a dangerous place. But if you can enjoy that and just kind of embrace the wilderness, it is perfect. You need to go to sleep, look at your eyes. It's definitely something where I don't stay up as late as I used to. So you're not wrong. I'll put it that way. All right, we got rid of that squareness to the head. That's good. Bring this in a little bit. Kind of a bit of a chin there. I don't know if that's a good design or not. That's interesting. I won't say it's great. I won't say it's bad. We'll go with this for right now. Do you see a lot of animals when you go out of your house? Yes, actually quite a few of them. Hey, I remember you, says Monty. Greetings. How you doing, Monty? What have you been up to? Do you see, see here, barely realize I'm 1 hour ahead of your time zone. Yeah, it's, Alaska time zone is indeed pretty interesting. You think earlier streams would attract more viewers? Yes, it would. But I also learned something else. I went to an earlier time slot for a while, and I ended up getting nothing. Because the thing is I'm not big enough to be able to compete with the larger channels out there. There really isn't, a need to try and compete. Now, I almost really started to have the channel take off. That was back in the in 2024. There was one time where it really started to climb, and it petered out very quickly. And I realized at that point that there was actually that most of the channels I was like in their greater circles were all streaming at that exact same time. And I remember hearing from some YouTubers a while back that most of them were fighting for the same audience as well. And they were trying to find all sorts of sneaky ways to try and steal audience members. And I thought, I don't want to be a part of that drama. that's not beneficial to anybody. So I didn't bother. And I just embraced the time slot I was given. I'm in the last time zone of the North American continent, so I just leaned into it. Every now and again, I'll do streams with folks on earlier time zones, but on an earlier time slot. But typically, when I do go to an earlier one, it doesn't go so well. What time zone is in the middle of the Bering Strait? Well, technically, I would believe that would be the time travel zone, because you can go forward and backwards by a day. International Dateline. What platforms do you stream on? We got started on Twitch. I left Twitch for a while, and then I went on to Rumble, and then went on to finally YouTube because of Restream. Restream gave me the ability to start doing that. But while Restream had some good potential, it is also limited to just 3 channels, to 3 different platforms, and so I was trying. So I keep going back and forth between them, and sometimes it has a couple of problems. Thankfully, not too many. We did try X for a while. X had 0 interaction over the span of about 9 months. The most interaction we've ever had was on Twitch. The second amount is on YouTube. And then following up towards the back end is Rumble. But there was a time where Rumble was also starting to grow in popularity, and that one petered out as well. Hey Caster, I'm going to bounce. Cool Aseprite content. Love that software. It's my favorite. I have had no sleep for over 18 hours. I'm in Texas, Central Time. Indeed. Rest well, Monty. Have a pleasant evening. And see you next time, whenever that is. Until then. Do you enjoy the South Park Fortnite season? No. Well, first off, I can't even play it. My ability to play that game has been thwarted. That is because of updates. Updates are not kind to my PC. And I've not been able to really get a whole lot of... I've not been able to play it for probably close to 4 months now, 5 months. Yeah, it's kind of typical for that game. Caused all sorts of problems for me. Anyway, I'm not a fan of it for a very specific reason. The game of Fortnite is fun. South Park is disturbing. I know, a lot of people enjoy South Park. I do not. I have a lot of problems with that sort of cartoon. It's because of the morals. While it can have funny moments, I do not approve a lot of some of the darker elements. Some people are able to look past it. I've lived a little too much life to look past it. There's some things that really grate on me. And I tried it for a little time. I tried seeing what other people were enjoying about it, and I realized I couldn't. So anyway, that is why I am not a fan of it, because I don't like South Park as a whole. And it actually goes back to a guy that I met back when I was just getting started in my career. I had a manager who really enjoyed certain type of content. And I had to, well, I got to see into his mind a little bit. And I suddenly could no longer see those cartoons in the same way. Because I saw the sort of person that it was kind of pushing down dark paths. Again, not everyone's going to see it that way, but I got to see it firsthand, and it freaked me out. Definitely freaked me out. They're just money hungry at this point, yeah. Most companies seem to have gotten money hungry at this point. The desire for cash is unfortunately a terrible vice. It does not satisfy the way that many people think it should. It doesn't give them comfort. All it does is rob them of peace. It also robs them of their own ability to make wise decisions. Because a lot of people will do anything for money. And we should not give in such a way. Money can be a useful tool. It can also be a vice of terrible consequences. I hope and pray that we, well, are able to avoid some of the pitfalls that comes with money. Let's put it this way: there's a couple of sins that tend to lean towards one class or another. A lot of people towards the lower end of society tend to struggle a lot with theft. I'm not saying that to necessarily pick on lower classes. I'm saying that because I myself have been in that position. But I know that the concept of theft becomes a little bit loose among that range. And so a lot of people kind of joke about it. They'll look the other way. If you are somebody who comes from means, but you're unhappy, well, then you're probably going to lean into some other vices, ones that are going to exploit the well-being of others, trying to steal their happiness for yourself. When you get to the upper classes, you have two camps that start to form: those that are greedy beyond belief, and those that have a lust for power like none other. Thankfully, most of us will never experience that. I keep saying over and over again, the lust for power is probably the strongest of sins I've seen. And when you meet somebody who has that desire for power, oh, it spooks you. It spooks you so much. Got to be above reproach. Veluxy has a new game setup. Nice. Trying to get game setup can be a bit pricey these days. It's not too big of a... Actually, it's not bad. I wonder what that would look like if I was to play that. I'm going to stay focused on this for right now, Veluxy, but glad you got a chance to get that squared away. Now let's try and get this hairdo squared away. I got the other elements here. Let's, actually, wait a minute. Let's try this. I'm going to try and have some sort of helmet. I don't know if that's going to... Actually, wait a minute. No, helmet's not going to be good because this guy's not going around. Vacuum, but... Yeah, let's just sketch some things and see what happens. Last time we did hair, it just looked a little too close to the character. I want to try and have it go out a little bit. Have it stand out. This is not the colors I'm going to be working with in the end. I'm just using it because it stands out from the background. By the way, I saw that there was, gonna be heading to bed, and plus, I got school tomorrow. But good luck with the art, and goodbye. I hope you can stream tomorrow too. Thanks for stopping by, Tato. Have a good evening, and we'll see you next time, whenever that is. Rest well. I saw that Discord is going to be having facial recognition. That's going to be required, or some sort of ID. I know a lot of people are going to be upset about this, and I personally am not a fan of it either. But you know, I can understand why. I can definitely understand why. There's some shady things happening on Discord. It was not the case a couple of years ago, but as of late, there's some things that have made me look back and think, you know, I kind of feel like we need to be a little bit more careful. I had a couple of really strange messages that came in last year. Got notifications on Indeed. So last year, something happened, and I kind of didn't speak about it a whole lot. I kind of hinted like something has happened. Discord started having some weird things taking place. Some weird comments were going around, some weird behaviors. And I started getting messages, personal messages, that were, we'll say they were not made with any sort of either self-awareness or was lacking any sort of honor in them. There's some weird things that were taking place. And there was a time where I almost said, you know what, Discord's becoming too problematic. I think we may have to get rid of it. Now, I didn't go through with that. It's still there. But starting next month, they're going to start having facial recognition. I would not have agreed with that before last year. I think we've crossed a line ethically as a culture, as a globe, honestly. A lot of bad things have happened in the last couple of decades. And the number of things that happened because of Discord has been huge. So I'm not a fan of it, a fan of these changes. But you know, I can't look the other way anymore. Too many lines were crossed. And while I'm not a fan of what that will look like moving forward, I'm going to have to embrace a bit more security because the world's gotten too dangerous. Now, if people were more honorable, this would not be a problem. But having seen the other side, and knowing what is capable with technology, and seeing the evil that has happened in our culture with stuff like that, I personally am not going to be too upset about it. Other people can be upset about it. That's their right. But I'm going to have to say I welcome it. Sure. Will it cause problems? Absolutely. But until people are able to do things and hold themselves accountable, we can't allow it to go. There was a streamer that I got to work with. Somebody tried to cause him immense pain. And to them, it was a game. They kept joking about it, and his suffering was to their delight. And then they would hide, like, ha ha ha, just going to disappear. It was a big problem. And eventually, he had to embrace it and say, okay, you know what? The way to beat them is to overcome them. And he did. He was not happy about it. But he didn't have any other choice, really. He was pushed into that position. That's interesting. Dark bluish. Let's desaturate that a little bit more. I don't want it to be like true gray because I would not stand out from the background. I think an off blue is probably going to be best. And that ear can move up. There we go. Actually, it's a little bit of a tough one here. Okay, I think I have to have that down like that. Come on, why is that not painting? Oh. Didn't feel the hotkey click there. There was a moment, though, with that guy that I was talking about, where the line became crossed so much, where it finally became a security issue. And it was a security issue not because, well, again, it was somebody who wanted to just cause pain, and he found immense gratification doing that. But it became a problem because people like that don't know when to stop. The younger they are, it tends to not click in their heads. It's like, oh, whatever kind of feels good, just kind of run with it. Honor and respect teaches us that we need to deny ourselves. Being compulsive is not a good trait. It's actually a very bad trait. In fact, the more I learn about it, the more I'm realizing to be a compulsive sort of person gets you a lot of friends, you could say, a lot of people get excited about folks like that. Those people destroy themselves as time goes on. They keep pushing the envelope, and then finally they cross a line, and suddenly they can no longer go back. We got to be aware of that sort of stuff, because there is a point where that does happen. But not many of us will know it until that line has been crossed. I saw a video of some people that were being compulsive, causing harassment. They were going around having a lot of fun, and somebody got hurt. And afterwards they said, "Why did you guys do that?" And they're like, "Well, it's fun." And they were trying to deny responsibility. Responsibility is what separates youth from adults. If you're an adult, you have learned self-control, or you should have learned self-control. You're a child if you do not have self-control. One of the saddest videos I ever saw was a child that had to grow up too fast. A 4-year-old. 4 or 5-year-old, something like that. I will not go into the details of what it was. But a child who witnessed a tragedy, and he was more of a grown-up than many people in their 20s and 30s. He was wrecked emotionally. And he rose above. Poor kid. Kids should not have to grow up that fast. But he had to. Sin, unfortunately, ruined his childhood. But in doing so, he suddenly was sober. At a young age. I remember seeing that video and I was like, wow. Shell-shocking. But you learn to have restraint the more tragedy happens. And that's the part we have to remember, is that there's a lot of great things that happen in this world. There's a lot of really dark things as well. Let us not contribute to the darkness. Let us rise above and be light in this dark world, showing honor and respect when others don't know. To show mercy when others refuse to give you mercy. To be mature and sensible when others see that as trivial. We're going to take a moment to add in a guide in the background here. Make this dark red, since there's no red on his attire here. Actually, let's go with purple. Actually, pink right here. That'll stand out. What I'm trying to do at this is create a walkway so we can see the difference of where his feet need to be. So the back feet need to land on this line right here. Actually, let's spread that out. Oh, no, that's good enough. His feet need to line on here. The forward feet can land up on the bottom one. We'll mark that with this right here. With this right here. There we go. That should be good. Let's lock that. That is our guide. We have some more guides that we'll put out here in a bit, but right now that is what we'll do. So I'm going to go through, copy this, and I'm going to go around and delete this head and replace it with the new one. Actually, wait, I need to line it up a little bit better. So let's duplicate this onto a different layer entirely. So we're going to copy. And now, I'm going to paste. Okay, we got that motion. So we want to now do the same thing with the hair. Copy the hair, and no. I want to copy the hair. So select, copy. Okay. Paste. Paste. The hair bounces up for a moment. Okay, gonna grab that. Bring that down. Oh, wait a minute, that's a problem. Let's erase that. Yeah, let's just go through. Clean up. Edge there. Let's just get rid of that entirely. Okay, now let's do that. My head... Why does the head go down so much? Okay, so we're going to move this up. Okay, come on. Can grab this, move it up one. Same thing with the head. Nope, I said same thing with the head. There we go. There we go, much better. I'll be sure to take a look at that once I get near the end here, Veluxy. Okay, now I gotta get the legs figured out. So, got that. Let's start off by mirroring this. So I have to go back to here or here? Here. Paste that in, and I gotta also mirror this. Sorry, I gotta extend this here. So we gotta here, paste, 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 paste. I wonder if there's a way to make that last longer. Interesting thought. So I want to have it start right here, and we'll fix the torso in a little bit here. But I want to grab this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it in the other direction here. Actually, I want to also grab this, put it back here. This will be like my reference guide for this. You know, I would love to do more large projects. I do not have that ability with how few views that the channel gets. That may change one day, but I've also learned don't dive headlong into something if you can't do it. And I definitely cannot pull off a lot of the sort of streaming that other people do. I can't pull off the some of the massive projects people can contribute to. Maybe one day when I actually have the ability to cut back on some of the financial drains that happen. Get a cheaper place to rent or things like that. But I also realize that's wishful thinking. Is it possible? Yes. But I was reminded about this recently. I won't go into the full story because this would actually be a very long story to try to cover. So I'm going to just tease it a little bit because we're going to explore this in the future. The devil offers an easy way to success. We are not meant to live on this earth to find success. That may sound strange, but let me explain as to why. There is all the reason in the world to desire good things. There's all the reasons in the world to want to be happy, to be famous, but we're not called to that. We're called to humility, to kindness, to mercy. And if we go through life trying to chase fame and glory, to be able to find an easy way to live rather than a meaningful, we're going to be disappointed because very quickly we learn, well, we're here to labor in this life. We don't necessarily have to work ourselves to the bone, but we have to be able to work and labor with joy. We're not given the easy path. We're given the hard path in this life. The devil will thwart us. The devil will come along and offer an easy way out, a cheap way to success. That is not where meaning is found, though. Meaning is found in showing kindness to those that God has put into your life. Because there's only one thing we can take with us to the next life: other people. I've mentioned that before, and I do want to stress that. So many people go through this life wanting the fame and glory. And it is not fulfilling in the slightest. The reason why I've been thinking about this is because of Markiplier. I personally am a fan of Markiplier. I enjoy his content a lot. He's hilarious. But there's one thing he struggles with. And that's fear. He's mentioned about it on stream, actually. He doesn't spend a whole lot of time dwelling on it, which is honestly for the best. But it is something where it's like he's avoiding the most difficult subject that also is the most meaningful. He recently came out with a film, Iron Lung. It is a dark story. I don't say that lightly. It is a very, very dark story. And you know, it focuses on an unrighteous sort of fear. It also focuses on depravity. Is it exciting? Well, I don't doubt that it can be exciting. But what does it do to yourself psychologically? What sort of things happen when you dwell in fear? I'll tell you what happens. You stop seeking God for help. The fear eventually gets to you. It's important to be able to share hope with others. Hope does not sell at the movie theater. Hope barely sells in the form of books. By the way, Fair and the Smith, small booklet you can be able to read. It is on the website. But hope. Hope is something that the devil does not want us to spread. It's why he spends so much time trying to make us afraid. Why he wants us to share fear with others rather than joy, rather than hope. So, I've been thinking about this because success, if we pursue the world trying to get success, and we end up instilling fear, anger, depression in other people, we've not helped anyone. The goal is to help save them from this life, not destroy them. Not to cause them to flee in fear. We want them to understand consequences so that they can have their life transformed for the better. Interesting, you can play that. It's interesting. Can I draw directly onto this? So if I just come over here, let's do something on lime green. Oh, it does maintain it. Oh, that's so cool. So I can see that constantly playing right there. That's actually really handy. I did not know that. Okay, so this is good. Let's take that and we're going to delete this. I'm going to delete that one as well. Come up here, grab the leg. We're going to actually shift this leg around a little bit now that we can see what's happening with the motion. So what will you be remembered for? Are you going to be remembered for spreading hope? Or are you going to be remembered for trying to spread fear and depression? I asked this question to a media guy a while back. He was a filmmaker. And I mentioned about this, and he was like enamored with this. Like, of course we want to instill hope. And then he went out and made horror films. He didn't understand how important it is to spread hope. Take a quick break here. I need to check something. Oh, and I'll also take that chance to look at the thing that sent there for Lexi. Ooh, look at those lights. Ooh, fancy. Nice setup. Very fancy. I used to have Christmas lights to kind of do the same sort of effect back in the day. I used it when I was at college in particular, and we didn't have just any Christmas lights. It was blacklight Christmas lights. Now here's the benefit. I was out of college. We had very different sleep schedules for me and my roommate. He would get up at the break of dawn, and he had to go to bed early. I stayed up later and worked into the night. Well, I would turn on the black lights, the black Christmas lights, and I was able to read by them, and it wouldn't disturb my roommate who needed to sleep. It's actually a really neat thing. I really like black lights. But you don't want to use them too much because they do start to cause pain to your eyes. So they're not the best things in the world, but I love the sort of cool colors that you can do with it, with the art and whatnot. I got this set up. I'm going to try and do it in a new way to try and animate this. I'm going to use the silhouette, and I'm just going to refine the silhouette. And this is a really cool feature. Man, this makes it so much easier. I'm somebody who works fastest when I have the ability to reference on the fly. It's also how I edit videos, actually. It's a really slow, sluggish method. I don't advise it as a technique, but it's the only way I can be able to do it effectively. I also do the same sort of thing when I'm writing. I have to do like live reviews of it to really get a benefit out of it. Gonna get myself some more to drink, then I'll continue with this. You know, I need to stress again, I keep thinking about this, and it is worth rehashing actually a bit more than not. I am very well aware that we are in an evil age. I don't say that lightly. We are in a very evil age. A lot of people have given themselves over to the devil. And as such, the need for a change in behavior is needed. And right now, we are in a culture that doesn't seem to understand how important it is to be on good behavior. And I dare say a lot of people are going to be afraid when you have accountability starting to be held. Let's put it this way. The internet has gotten incredibly dangerous, more so than walking down the street in many ways. Depending on the neighborhood, of course. I do not believe we as a culture have tried at all to try and course correct. And the reason why I want to say that is because I've seen enough people who, for the want of fame and glory, would attack their friend gleefully. The web has made us to where we don't have friends anymore. Well, we do have friends, it just isn't nearly as good as of friends as we used to have. We've become cold to the people that we should care the most about. If you met people face to face, it's a lot harder to do, to be able to turn on them. It takes a cold heart. But as long as people are pixels on a screen or text, it's really easy for people to just kind of to be able to embrace the ability to harm. The other year that happened to me. I saw what happens when somebody has no values. I did not believe that somebody could be so cold, and I got a rude awakening to that. So when I see the need for correction, I'm perfectly fine with that, because people have lost their ever-loving mind. But we have the chance to correct it. See, if we have... I don't agree with the idea of that if you have nothing to hide, then, that sort of argument. But I do have the idea that your reputation should be on the line. There's a lot of famous people that are going to get ashamed when this stuff starts to come to light. There's a lot of people who operate in the shadows and think that they operate in the shadows quite thoroughly. It's one of the reasons why I don't try and hide who I am. I don't broadcast it in that sense, but I don't hide with it because I'm not trying to live two personalities. I'm one person. I have one personality. I don't change it just for stream. But some people out there want to live a dual life. And those people, this will change that for them. They will not be able to live a double life. Not as easily. Now, one day it will get too far. One day the devil will push mankind to want to crack down using the web, probably. But a crackdown is scheduled, you could say, for humanity. Hopefully we never live to see that. But it will happen one day. And when that terrible day comes, it will also be a great day, because it means that the day of the Lord is at hand. And the devil has one last act of defiance. And afterwards, no more. The devil will be gone. And we will not have to suffer on any more pain and suffering ever again. But until that day comes, we live in the flesh and we deal with the struggles and trials of this life. And one day the devil will try and ruin us by taking away our ability to buy and sell without a mark. A mark on our hand or on our forehead. The mark of the beast. Digital ID is not that, but it's going in that direction. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of that. Because they've already used it to terrible effect in China. But I don't view the Discord thing in the same way. Not yet, at least. It does have some problematic points. I don't deny that. But I'm not going to jump up in arms just yet, especially because people still are out of control on the web. And we need those people to start to stop their bad behavior. And then things can start going back to a sense of normalcy. This would not be a problem, though, if people were on their best behavior. Let's put it this way. There is a store nearby, and when I get off of work, it usually is in the process of closing. And as I go in, I have noticed almost every single night somebody shoplifting. Every single night that I've gone, somebody is shoplifting. Some people think, oh, well, you're getting while the getting's good. But at the same time, you are on borrowed time. Eventually, there will be a crackdown. And I can tell that business is about ready to have a crackdown. The people that think that, hey, we're getting some cool free stuff, they're ruining it for everybody. And they're ruining it for themselves. Soon, they will not be able to shop there anymore. Because the crackdown will happen. And punishment will finally come. I'm fine with extra surveillance over there. Because I'm getting sick of criminal behavior. Sick of it. What sort of people are we if we look the other way and say, well, this crime's fine, I deserve it. It's owed to me. That's not going to help anybody, let alone ourselves. All it does is rob from our potential as well as others. So in that sense, surveillance is going to be necessary until we as a culture correct. It's going to have to happen. I'm not a fan of it, but I don't see any other way around it. Not until we are willing to look ourselves in the mirror and say, no more. No more criminal behavior. And that goes for the web too. If it has to be that there is a digital ID, so be it. Until the criminal behavior stops, which, yes, evil people are the reasons why, but I've seen a lot of common folk doing it too. A lot of common folk. We're going to have to be careful. And maybe one day, we can kind of go back. Because it is possible to go back. Not easy, but it is possible. So let us try and be above reproach to try and avoid the crackdown. Because it will get worse if people do not correct. Parents will start to have a louder outcry. And I can't blame them, because I myself don't like what the web has become. Let alone if you have kids. We're almost done with this leg. After this, we'll start to bring the stream to an end. Actually, have I only been going on for an hour? Oh my. Never mind, I'll keep going. Didn't realize it. Wow, that is actually quite remarkable. Normally at this time I look at the clock and I realize that like 2 hours have passed already. And not even that. It's really fascinating, actually. Guess I'm meant to go on. For now. I'm glad I went back to redo this, because I was not liking what the character was looking like. I can tolerate this character. Is he perfect? No, but way better than the first one I did, let alone the second. Wonderful. Okay, now the second, the back leg here. Actually, lower that like just a little bit. One pixel ought to do it. Because it just looks a little weird. It's like that. I just saw something that probably need to get addressed sooner rather than later. It's tough these days to know how far you should go into something, to know how far you should push back. And I think we may have crossed a point. I'm going to have to look into the specifics, but may have a problem. Right now I'm trying to thicken up the arm a little bit because it's just a little too skinny with this animation. I think I'm going to use that as the guide and then redo this. Okay, new one. And then we come over here and we'll do this in the actual color of the suit. Greetings there, Jersey. How you doing? What happened to Vin Diesel? Vin Diesel got some miracle growth. Yeah, this is our updated character so far. Third time was what was needed, and so I'm in the process of refining the animation. How have you been today? So far this has gone so much better than the last time. There's been a couple of times where I end up doing a project and I cringe at it the whole way through. And then it's at the final tail end of it that I'm like, okay, I don't feel so embarrassed about it anymore. This is one of those projects where it started out looking really bad, and it looks not perfect, but, not ashamed of it the way that it was. We'll look at what the previous one was when it's all said and done. Let's show the before and after. Okay, now bring back this. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Still could use a little bit of a darker outline for this, though. I didn't really want to do that. That's better. Those are some very noodle-like arms there, going all over the place. So the side view is now completed. And then, well, not completed. I still have to do one more arm, but we're going to be duplicating this arm. Actually, I think we can do it right now. Duplicate, and we're just going to take this. We're going to, like the one in the back, we're going to just change the color to black. Now, how do I offset this? Move it over 4. And grab these ones and move it back on over. Yep. Grab those, move it back on over. And I'm going to take these, delete these frames, and then put this underneath the torso. Come back over here and now preview it. Not bad. Probably need to bring some color back to it, just a little bit. Well, 2 major things happened today. Just one, because the second one, it turned out, didn't actually happen. So the first one, and the only one, is that we passed 100 subscribers on YouTube for this channel, not the Castercraft channel. Castercraft has been put on hold for just a little bit while I get this all squared away. And right now, this channel, which was the first one, well, not the first one, I really put in some effort to try and make work. It has been floating underneath 100 for years. For the first time, it is now over 100. celebrate. I'm the worst when it comes to celebrating. Anyway, I have some feelings through every single art I do. Only at the very end, I'm like, okay, maybe it's okay-ish. Big congrats, yeah. Woohoo, party. Oh, wait. Maybe I do have a celebration sound. Let's see here. What have I got? Oh, I don't really have too many great celebration things. Well, this is celebration enough here.
What the dog doing?
There we go. Celebration. I gotta get that image to load faster. It's all about the structure and how you get the image to load, and I've not been not corrected that. So I only got the dog dancing at the very tail end of that. Okay, so going to color inside of that hand, and we'll see what else needs to be changed afterwards. Actually, let's put that one in shadow. Okay, so to compare, let's take a look at the original. Let's actually first clean this up a little bit. Okay, so we can hide all the ones up here, and then we bring back this. This was the original animation. It looks so bad. So that was our original character. And now, this is the character. Wunderbar. Okay, let us correct this shadow back here just a little bit. Because while it is correct in some ways, it also just looks a little exaggerated in others. So we're just going to tone it back a little bit. One more thing I want to kind of add on to what I was talking about earlier. There was a YouTuber that I knew who encountered a lot of major problems. And I felt so sorry for him. He had a heck of a time trying to deal with some nonsense that he got plagued with. And one of those things that he was fighting with was surprise surprise gifts. And finally he was like, this is actually very bad. And he contacted some authorities and got it all squared away. He got himself some extra protection. But it reminded me just how easy it is in our world to have people live in not necessarily fear, but live in a constant state of paranoia. And I never quite understood how much that can affect somebody until I saw what it had done to this guy. And I learned from that. I learned that there is a moment that you need to take extreme measures to try and thwart evil people. And unfortunately, like I said earlier, the web is full of such people. And you're going to have to make a decision at some point where you have to act, and people are going to hate you for it. But it's going to be necessary. But if you know somebody who is on the web and they start to encounter some weird things, assume the worst to begin with. You can tone things back after a while, but you have to assume the worst. Because people are so out of control these days. You don't know what they're going to be like. You have to assume that they mean ill intent. Again, the reason why I'm all for this Discord update. Even though I do take issue with it in other ways. Okay, so now we got that squared away. Again, pretty easy to just kind of mirror this. So we're not going to bother about that just yet. Next, we have to do it where the character's pointing towards the camera. But we're at the 2-hour marker, and I should call it here for today. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. I don't think there's anything that should come up to cause problems, but you'll see. We'll see. Anyway, until next time, everybody, have a very pleasant evening and morning, everybody. Be civil to one another. We'll see you next time, whenever that is. Until then, folks, have a very pleasant evening.